Welcome back to Marvel Talk, and today we're talking about the Marvels. You know what? We're going to start here. It's the non-spoiler section. Non-spoilers. Just going to talk generic. You know what? We're going to start with the argument that needs to be had. The critics are fucking tools.
I agree.
Rotten Tomatoes score of 62. It is according to Rotten Tomatoes, in 275 reviews from quote-unquote reliable reviewers, this movie is sitting at a 62 tomato score out of 275 reviews. The audience, however, disagrees with the reviewers by saying 85% positive reviews, giving it a fantastic jug of popcorn.
Yeah.
I've read through some of these reviews, and you know what? I'm still in here, and you know what? I'm going to start with those.
Let's do it.
It boggles my fucking mind how some of these people can do this. Like, Rolling Stone.
Hello, Astrid.
Hi, Astrid. We're going to vent. This is another Ed rant. Andre's going to join in with the Ed rant tonight.
I love Ed rants.
You get to be a part of one for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
David Fear, Rolling Stone. You figure he must know what he's talking about. It's Rolling Stone. I mean, they're more known for music than movies, but it's Rolling Stone, right?
Mm-hmm. You think so?
The wobbly addition to the overall saga does not pass muster as either a sequel to the 2019 Captain Marvel movie, we'll talk about that, or as a solo outing of the sum of its parts. I've got fucking nothing.
No, me either.
Like, how is that a review you could possibly give to this movie after having seen it?
Yeah, again, yes, there's some faults with the movie. Don't get me wrong.
I agree, and we will discuss some of those faults.
But it's just...
Thank you, Astrid.
But it's just, I look at it and I'm going, how do you hate it this much? It was a fun popcorn movie that was a good, jolly old time and moved some story ahead for the Marvel Universe. Like, simple as that.
And I want to break down this review. The wobbly addition to the overall saga doesn't pass muster as either a sequel to 2019's Captain Marvel.
This isn't a sequel to that movie.
But even if I disagree. I do think it's a sequel to that movie because the entire first half of this movie is explaining why Dar-Ben is calling, and all of the Kree are calling Carol Danvers the Anomaly, which is a direct further on from the movie that she had.
Yes, but again, I also look at this as also, but it's not just a sequel for Captain Marvel. This is a sequel to Endgame. This is a sequel to Miss Marvel. There's so much more to this movie than just being Captain Marvel's sequel.
And Ashton says, I was wondering if it was announced as a sequel. Originally, it was slated as Captain Marvel 2. It then just changed to The Marvels, and it was left at that. But we continue. Hey, you know what? American idiots aren't just the only people here. We're going to go into not quite your neck of the woods, but it's Canada. It's all one. The Toronto Star.
Fuck it. No, fuck it. That's it's purely a shit rag.
What the Marvels has going for it, apart from the hour and 5-minute runtime, which, by the way, was a delight.
It was 105 minutes, not an hour and 5.
No, I thought I said 105-minute runtime.
Yeah, I thought you said an hour. I apologize. My brain's not working.
It is what the Marvels has going for it, except the runtime, is the energizing presence of Canada's Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, Marvel's first Muslim superhero. She's almost enough to save a movie that is ultimately beyond redemption.
Fuck that. Fuck this guy. Fuck the Toronto Star all in everything. Fuck. She was charming as fuck. Is Brie Larson the most dynamic actress in the world? Not really, but I think she did just fine in the stuff she had to do. The dance.
You talk about Brie Larson. Matthew Lacona of the San Diego Reader says star Brie Larson seems pretty checked out here. Almost as checked out as the jokers who came up with the idea once again of tapping the Beastie Boys for the soundtrack. Hey, they're on a spaceship. Let's use Intergalactic. Score 0 out of 5.
I don't understand
0.
the critics. I like fuck. I don't understand, man. I really do not understand.
Now, for a slightly positive look, Odie Henderson, Boston Globe. My man from Boston. In a universe where the movies last well over 3 hours, the 105-minute runtime of the Marvels is as welcomed as it is surprising. Overall score, 3 out of 4. I'll take it.
Yeah. That was positive.
Now, granted, that's not the full review. That's just like the you get like the line here. Parrish is right. Now, I thought Intergalactic was well woven into the movie, but I agree. Intergalactic. Oh, it's a space movie. Use Intergalactic. I get it, but you have to remember, Marvel's on a bend right now of using the Beastie Boys. They paid the Beastie Boys some money because we had No Sleep Till Brooklyn and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We have Intergalactic here. Now, I want to also show you a quick change. When you change the gender of the person reviewing a movie, it's surprising how the review becomes entirely different. Sarah Michelle Fetters, MovieFreak.com. DaCosta delivers a family-friendly, interplanetary frolic, complete with an impromptu Gilbert and Sullivan-like musical sojourn, filled to the brim with colorful visuals, strong special effects, character-driven humor, and exciting action sequences. 3 out of 4.
Yeah. Again, she's right. It's not a perfect movie, not even close.
No.
But it was entertaining, and I think that's essentially what you want this to be. It's entertaining. Simple as that.
Helen O'Hara, Empire Magazine. It might not have been an overwhelming impact of Endgame or even Guardians 3, but this is the MCU back on its fast, funny form. 4 out of 5.
I agree.
We then go to the New York Times, where we get, it's almost as if the suits at Marvel know it doesn't matter if the movies are good. This is a handful of a bunch of different reviews on this movie. Asher brings up a good point. My friend Josie has a nice review. They used it on the socials to promote it too. I did see that. We were hoping to get Josie on. Unfortunately, the timing of the show did not go well with it, but hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to have her on.
Heck yeah.
So, something funny happens when you switch from the critics to the verified audience. 5 stars, 5 stars, 2 stars. Rob the Movie Guy says, one of the most lackluster Marvel movies, never really flowed, everything happens too fast. You know what? I don't necessarily disagree with the review there. I think it's a little harsh, but I don't necessarily disagree with the words he used.
No, I don't disagree with the little bit too fast to pace and stuff.
Yeah.
But it
didn't have perfect flow. It didn't really, everything kind of happened very quickly. But sometimes that's a good thing. 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars. You see a difference here where we're, and you know what I keep seeing a lot in these reviews? Family fun. My family had fun. I took my family to this movie. I see chemistry. I see everybody was having a good time. When I left the theater, I was laughing. That's what I see from these reviews, and it's such a good time. Again, we're now going to break into our review, but I wanted to start this show by talking about don't rely on the critics. Don't rely on people like this who just go in here and make sure that you use the audience reviews much more than you use the critic reviews. Because critical reviews are that of people who are paid to see 100,000 movies a year, and I don't think they enjoy any movie anymore.
No, I don't.
Speaking of the critic reviews, using solely the critic reviews, Rotten Tomatoes has ranked the MCU top 30, the 33 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the Marvels currently ranks at 62% verified, which is ahead of two movies. 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which, by the way, I had forgotten came out this year.
Yeah, it came out in February.
Yeah. I thought it came out last February.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't a great time. It was fun, but it wasn't a great time. That comes in at 33rd with 46% rotten. We then have The Eternals, 2021's Chloe Zhao masterclass in directing, which sits at 47%.
Again, I don't hate that movie. I enjoy it when I watch it. I'm weird like that.
The two movies ahead, just to put in paradise where this movie, not in paradise, in perspective where this movie sits, at 63%, we have Thor: Love and Thunder.
Again, I look at Love and Thunder the same way. It's not the best, but if you want to go into it, I enjoyed it. I had a fun time watching the movie. I had a good time. I very try to look at everything in this thing positive except for Moon. And the only Marvel property I've ever been able to look at positively is Moon Knight, and that was just too much of a mindfuck for me. And it's not bad. It's just too much of a mindfuck for me.
And then, sitting at number 29, Andre's favorite Marvel Studios picture, made in conjunction with Universal Studios.
Fuck that
in
movie.
2008, The Incredible Hulk, sitting at 67%.
Fuck that movie.
Ashford brings up a good point when talking about the Eternals. Even the MCU has forgotten about it. Yes, there was a small piece on somebody's website about the Eternals sticking his hand out of the water that happened at the very end of that movie. That it's been 7 years since that movie. It's been 7 years. It's been 3 years since that movie happened. It's been 7 movies since that movie happened, and not one product has gone ahead and talked about it.
No.
Andre, what are your thoughts about this movie overall?
I had a great time watching this. Again, it's fun. It's a romp. It's a space romp and fun. That's what this movie was designed to be, and it has some decent stakes at the end of what it means for the future of the Marvel universe. Again, it did good, in my opinion. It did good.
Yeah, I thought this was. I had a delight from the moment the movie started to the moment the movie ended. I had a ball. I enjoyed this thoroughly. It's not a perfect movie by any means. It's lacking a bit in terms of substance. It's lacking a bit in terms of significance in the Marvel universe. But overall, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
We're now going to go into the spoiler section because I want to say nice things about this movie. And the only way you can start doing that is by jumping in the spoiler section.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody who hasn't seen it and plans to see it or doesn't want the movie spoiled, you should leave now. All right, Andre, let's get the bad things out of the way. Darben.
Yeah, not bad. Just suffers from lack of enough story written about the character, and just an in and out character. Like Hela, great character, not enough backstory, in and out. Like it's again actually probably worse than Hela in that sense because at least Hela they were explaining who she was at the beginning, but like you just see random Kree person at the start of the movie just looking for something, and it's revealed to be a quantum band, which was one of the Bangles. And that's your entire backstory. You don't realize what this person is even doing until what, halfway through?
Mm-hmm.
That they're on a quest for redemption of the Kree people. They're not in reality. This person is not that terrible. Just doing the wrong fucking things to fix it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's all it is. It's I don't know.
There was no introduction to her character that made any sense. By the time we figure out what she's doing and who she is, we already hate her and don't care.
Yeah, again, when you realize what she's actually doing, you're like, it's like I wish they would have told that story earlier in the movie, and like had her talk about just her people alone.
Yep.
The motivations for it, because again, it would have given us a better sense of the character. And again, not to shit, she did a good job.
Zoe Ashton is fantastic in this.
Yeah, Zoe Ashton's really good in it. Like character wise, she does great work. It's just the character doesn't have enough to it. You don't give enough, and you don't realize what she's doing until you don't realize it until halfway through the movie when after they steal the air. So stupid. And again, it sounds fucking stupid at the same time.
We'll get there. Yeah. I liken this to it's missing one scene. Black Panther, overwhelmingly considered by almost everybody to be one of Marvel's best movies.
I agree.
The villain is given to us fresh, quickly, and explained expertly from the moment the word go in that movie.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
You have the opening scene where he tells the story of their people. You cut in to see T'Chaka kill his father, and you see the birth of that villain from that moment. Mm-hmm. And then quickly into it, you see the theft, and you kind of get the idea of where he's going, what he's doing, and why. All this movie needed was the explanation of what Captain Marvel did to the Kree people in the very beginning of the movie. If you take that scene where Carol's explaining it to the girls to the beginning of the movie, Dar-Benn is a much more fascinating and more likable villain with much more at stake from the word go.
I agree. Again, if Carol had talked about who she was and what she did early on, then it doesn't become these people trying to take down the villain. It becomes Saber and its unit and these three heroes trying to negotiate with a tyrannical warlord on trying to come to a solution of their problems. That's what this movie becomes. And I think not that this movie wasn't interesting and fun, but it becomes a better movie if she explains what she did to the Kree early on this movie.
However, I think Zoe Ashton did a fantastic job. I think, like I said, I think she was unfortunately set up for failure in terms of the way the movie was kind of put together. Mm-hmm. We're going to move on to. Let's start with something fun. Canada's own Iman Vellani.
Oh, goddamn, she's so good. Oh, she's so good.
From the moment you see her to the moment you stop seeing this movie, she is an absolute delight from beginning to end.
Well, I think we even made mention of this on yesterday's episode. This girl is a charm factory who, like, you can truly believe this girl was, like, you can see it in her performance that she's having so much fun just being in a goddamn Marvel movie. and she's just loving doing this. Like, this girl can, like, I think we talked about yesterday, can recite Iron Man, the first 5 minutes of Iron Man by heart.
Mhm.
Like, it's incredible that you get this girl who's never been anything but Miss Marvel. She's only ever been Miss Marvel. And she's just so good, so charming, and she, like, arguably carries this movie, where I don't think, it's not like the other actors don't do good. She's just so far and above charming and likable, and just her character being so awesome in this movie, that she is like the shining light of this movie.
She is the piece that this whole movie kind of balances on. Not only that, she's the one continuously pushing the story every step of the way. Now, maybe that's well written in one respect, but in another respect, it's kind of unfortunate that it always seems like she's the one who's starting a conversation with somebody that starts the conversation with others, or she's the one that kind of pivot points, moving from scene to scene and from thing to thing. Yep. She is an absolute joy. I adore her to death. I cannot wait to see her in as many things as possible, please, because she's an absolute delight. She stole the Miss Marvel series. She stole that. She stole this movie. And
just think. Two shining lights of this last little while have both been Canadian, in Shang-Chi and Miss Marvel. Canada does it right, baby.
Yeah, sometimes they get it right. Anyways, you can't talk about Iman Vellani and Miss Marvel without talking about the Cons.
Yes. I love her family, and they're back, and they're on point, and they're awesome in this.
Now, they don't steal the show because they're not in it enough to steal the show. However, let me tell you that they are an absolute delight. Mm-hmm. And I just want to pay much love and consideration to these people. They are Sagar Sheikh. Mohan Kapoor as Yusuf, and Zenobi Saraf as Muniba. Just absolute fantastic. They are as lovable. Like, granted, Muniba took a bit, but by the end of the show, we loved Muniba as much as we loved Yusuf.
Well,
but Yusuf is a delight in this.
If you love the show, you already loved the mom coming into this for how charming as heck the mom was in the show.
I mean, she took a while. She was a bit grating and a bit in the beginning. But as she starts to understand and you have that story show, she grows. And she only continues in this movie. Mm-hmm. And they're so great because, like, there's a scene. Like, I saw this with a buddy of mine who's a financial advisor.
And, oh, my God.
Yeah. And so you see when they go up on Saber, because Nick knows he can't leave them in the house because the Kree were there. So obviously there's a potential that they can come back. Yeah. So he takes them up to Saber with them. And there's a moment where you just see some random Saber person being talked to about his financial advice from Yusuf. And I just looked at my buddy and go, "You're Yusuf!" Because he's just so delightful and fun and great. And I love it. These guys are... It's great to have these little bit pieces that make these kinds of movies better.
I agree. And again, it's supporting characters. And I think there's one more supporting character. Well, two more technically, if you want to include the Flurkin. There's another supporting character in this that I think he's the driving force to the family too.
Yeah.
In Nick Fury. I think we should touch on him now since we're in supporting characters.
We can. I don't have a picture of him because I didn't really think that there was much to talk about.
No, but again, the way he plays off the family and the way he works with them, I think it only strengthens what they are and how they react with him in the space station, and how, like, the elevator scene up to Saber was just great, and just his reactions is like, hey, no phone calls or no recording this. Getting mad at the older brother. Just the way he played off the family was absolutely great, and just how he worked with them was great. And then I think I know the hate he had. I guess he had. I was so insulated during Secret Invasion that I didn't read a lot of reviews.
Yeah,
I think
I hated it.
he did fine in that. He was great in that series, and I think he was amazing. And I think he really did good in this movie. Like, just again, it's that Captain Marvel play that he has. It's that charm he had from the Captain Marvel movie. It's back in this movie.
Speaking of Captain Marvel, we're going to go ahead and talk about Carol Danvers and the work done by Brie Larson. And yes,
oh my god,
I couldn't choose any other photo but this one because I think this is the best one.
Oh, so good.
We'll explain what you're seeing here later when we go through, some of the beat points of the movie and whatnot. But talk about your thoughts about Captain Marvel herself in this movie.
I thought she was a goddamn improvement from Captain Marvel. Like, I don't dislike that movie. I just think she is probably the least dynamic character in that movie, because you have Agent Coulson and Nick Fury are the kind of, and then Ben Mendelsohn are the three kind of really driving forces for that movie, in my personal opinion. And she's there and does the hero stuff. But I thought she really picked it up with her stuff in Endgame, and then now, and just I thought she really stepped it up here. And like, again, not perfect, not the best character in this movie, but I thought she did good. She's a lot more charming, much more dynamic than she was in the first movie. And just to see her throw on her singing chops and her dancing chops, I don't know. And I was more into the character throughout. Again, it's more the dynamic between the three characters really built that, made me like her more. But it's evolving her character, her being able to work off the other two in a lot of what they were doing and developing and helping bring her character forward and stronger. I thought she did great.
Yeah, I really thought that she killed it. I thought that she did great. Is she the greatest actress in the world? No, not really. Is this character the greatest in the world? No, not really.
Again, it's Marvel's Superman.
Yep.
Superman is very hard to put into it. To have a good Superman is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she did fine. I think her story was told so well in this movie because it's part of Iman's story. It's part of Teyonah's story with Monica and with Kamala. It's so interwoven by accident with all of them. It's so interwoven with Dar-Ben in this movie too, that I just thought that Nina DaCosta did a fantastic job making Brie Larson feel like somebody that we were getting to know. We were finally learning about her, not about her past, not about whatnot, but learning about the character that we've seen, that what's been happening to her since she's been around.
Like her having to deal with her tragedy and deal with her guilt and everything she holds on. And it's just, she's weirdly sympathetic. And when you finally learn about her what she's been holding in and trying to keep to herself, and you feel for the girl, you feel for the character, and it just, I don't know. I thought she did. She pulled a great performance out here.
Monica Rambeau, Teyonah Parris. I thought she did fantastic. An astronaut working for Saber. I thought she delivers an incredible performance. In WandaVision, we find that there's some. We don't find it. We can tell based on tone. We can tell based on statements. Her and Captain Marvel aren't on good terms. They haven't been. And I love the way they played off that angry / hurt feeling.
Well, right off the hop, when she's in space doing the spacewalk, and she hears Carol over the comms, and she's like, "No, I don't want to talk to her. This I can't deal with this now. This is not the right, like, I don't know." And again, and I'll admit, of the three mains, to me, this was the one nothing against the actress. I think she did a great job. Just the one I connected to least personally of all the characters. Like, I found she had the least other, we all know her issues with her mom. It's already been dealt out there, and so it pretty much just Captain Marvel being mad at Captain Marvel about not being around for her. That's what her character is. And again,
but I love that it's not. And again, we'll get into it as we start talking about the movie as a whole. But I love the idea that it's not just the fact that Captain Marvel wasn't there. There's so many inner feelings about I'll be back in a flash, or I'll be back as soon as before you know it. And she's like, and then you never came.
Oh, it's abandonment.
That whole idea of like a kid who's been hurt and longing for that person to come back. Now it's Auntie Carol, but but I liken it to a child whose dad or mom walks out on them. It's abandonment. It's a missing piece of your family that leaves without any notice and just kind of never returns. Yeah, and the anger and the feelings that bubble from that. And I love how well that was addressed in this movie, because it's not just like a quick, like it's quick how it was resolved, but it was resolved in such a way that made it feel cathartic, even in being brief. And I think that that's a hard thing to do, to take that difficult subject, not waste a ton of time on it, but still make it feel like it was an important story beat.
Oh, I agree. And by the end of this movie, I was really liking the character. I again, starting out like the character but I was really like the character by the end of this movie. I was very much into this character. It just, I just personally thought of the three, it's my least favorite of the trio. Personally, but she did, like, the actress did great, and telling the story was really good. It's just, to me, it was the most basic of all the stories. We're
gonna go ahead and kind of go beat by beat through this movie. Like Andre said, the movie basically quickly opens up with Dar-Ben finding the other bangle, which we later find out from Captain Marvel is that it's a quantum band, which is what everybody online was thinking it was, because it's what it was in the comics. So it wasn't a huge shock that we find out that it's that. She goes ahead and uses it to open a jump point with the Ronin staff. I forget what the exact name of the staff is. I know it does have a name, but it's the same staff that all of the judges for the Kree use, which is what she is.
Yeah, I don't even know. It just says on Wikipedia, this is an accuser's hammer. So, okay. Yeah. I know Captain Marvel says.
When she clashes that against the bangle, like what Ronin did with the Power Stone, when he inserted it into the hammer, it goes ahead and opens a jump point. It opens a jump point into one of the last surviving Skrull places in the system. It's one of the last homes of the Skrulls outside of Earth that was talked about in Secret Invasion. And she's trying to make nice with them until we start getting the switching. Because now both bangles are working, and now all of the light-based powers that the three leads have are all intertangled, because there are two bracelets, and they start flopping around. And this is done fantastic.
Dude, it was so good.
We see most of this is seen in the trailers, which is a bit unfortunate that they showed so much of this in the trailers. But it's fantastic. Every time one of them does something with their powers, it seems like they start swapping places.
Well, it's when two of them use their powers at the same time. They swap.
But we don't know that yet.
No, but that's what's happening.
But it feels like it's just every time one of them uses their powers to do something, it seems like switching starts to happen at this point. We go ahead and see the fantastic switching with Kamala Khan being put into the astronaut outfit from the spacewalk that Monica was doing. So she floats up to the side of Saber, and she's yelling and screaming the whole time. And she sees Nick Fury. She's like, "You're Nick Fury." Now, mind you, nobody on Earth is supposed to know who this man is. He is the spy of all spies. But somehow, this 18-year-old girl, no, but I'm just saying,
Ant-Man,
18-year-old girl knows exactly who he is. The spy of spies.
Yeah.
I love that, though, because if you're going to do that where somebody knows who he is, it has to be somebody like her who is making content and is a fanatic when it comes to the Marvel Universe. Like she said in her show, she listened repeatedly to the Ant-Man podcast. She read his book, all that kind of stuff. So it's just fantastic to see that. We also see Carol switching from being on the planet where Dar-Ben was in the beginning of the movie, attacking some Kree, swapping with Kamala to give us the end credit scene from Captain Marvel, from Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Where she shows up in her closet. And she comes downstairs and you see the family react like, what are you doing? Where's Kamala? It's fantastic. And the switching continues. And it's
Kamala's at. Oh, sorry. When Kamala is back home after a switch, she's like, "Your friend Captain Marvel is here," and she's like, "What?" And having this like freak out. It was great.
Also, again, speaking of moments where Iman Vellani just owns everything, Captain Marvel and Goose end up on Dar-Ben's spaceship at one point, and Goose the Flurkin eats some of the Kree. And just the sheer look of panic as Iman Vellani starts freaking out over the fact that this cute little kitty cat just ate 2 people.
So good. So good.
All of this finally ends when they finally get all 3 situations kind of dealt with. And we get this wonderful situation where Monica Rambeau and Nick Fury show up at the Khan's household after the battle, and they're cleaning up. Oh my God, and you have this great scene where they're all kind of cleaning, and you can see in the middle of this picture at the bottom, you can see the 2 Kree tied up with bands and stuff, just as tied up as they can do, being humans tying up Kree. And then you have little Miss Marvel over here. Did I get in?
Because she literally asked him, "Was this an Avengers test?" when she was floating outside of the space station. So good.
And then this one is, "Did I get in?" As everybody's so confused as to what's going on. And she is, again, so excited to the point where you couldn't even imagine how excited they are.
It's so good.
Just absolutely fantastic. Adored this. They then end up, the 3 of them realize that they have to go because they can't leave any of them away, because they need to be close by, because they figured out that they're quantum entangled. Mm-hmm. All their powers are entangled. So when they start using, as Andre says, 2 powers at the same time, people start switching places. Mm-hmm. So they go to Tarax, which is the civilization where the Skrulls were. And when they show up there, Dar-Ben is enraged. And unfortunately, she opens up a spot here and starts sucking the air out, because the Kree homeworld has lost everything. The sun is dying. There's no water. They've been in a blight for years upon years. And they have no air. The air is unbreathable. So they're all using breathing machines. So when she shows up here, she ends up taking the air. She sucks the air from here through the jump point back to the Kree homeworld of Hala. And that's where we get the storyline of, this is what Dar-Ben is doing. She's going to worlds. And at this point, we don't understand the rhyme or reason. She's just going to worlds to go ahead and take back the natural resources to try to rebuild Hala, the homeworld, after the destruction at the end of Captain Marvel, where the Supreme Intelligence was eradicated by Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. We then have the 3 of them on the spaceship, and they're trying to figure things out, but they have to rescue the Skrulls because now the planet's dying, and everything's crumbling, and nothing's going right. So they get as many of the Skrulls as they can onto Carol's spaceship. But they have nowhere to take them. So Carol calls, apparently, a friend, whom I must assume met during Endgame, in that one Endgame battle, and they must have made friends during that. We get Valkyrie. We get an appearance of Valkyrie. Welcome back, Tessa Thompson. Very unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, I saw in the ads, I saw the Rainbow Bridge of the Bifrost. But for some reason, I thought Thor and didn't even think of Valkyrie. Valkyrie agrees that she's going to go ahead and relocate them onto New Asgard. And remember, New Asgard is going to be a battle land at some point in the near future because of President Ritson saying that Earth is no longer going to support an alien race on its planet. Hello,
Hi, Mel.
Mel.
Talk to you soon.
Yes, Andre and Mel will be recording in the near future. So,
after we're done here, that's when I'm recording.
Mel, while we've got you here, I want to know your thoughts on the wonderful Mariah May being brought to AEW. Her being all elite.
I don't think she's happy about it.
Well, let's see what she has.
Yeah.
After the Skrulls and Valkyrie have left, it leaves just the three girls. And Iman Vellani is ecstatic because she's with Captain Marvel. She is Ant-Man meeting Captain America. She's shaking her hand for an ungodly amount of time. She is super excited. She apologizes for taking the name Marvel without permission because it's apparently Captain Marvel's official property in the eyes of Kamala Khan. But you quickly see that there's something wrong between Monica and Carol.
Yeah.
But Carol decides that if they're going to figure all this out, it's going to be quicker if they just all experience it as opposed to talking about it. So Carol takes what was the Kree torture device that we saw in the first movie that poured through people's dreams to be able to get information. And Captain Marvel has apparently made it safer. But Monica wants no part of this for multiple reasons we find out. But mostly she has zero desire to be involved in the situation whatsoever. We have a response from Mel. She is jealous that you got. I'm not AEW, so I didn't get her. If she came to NXT, you could be jealous with me. But jealous that AEW got her, but being that they allow her to wrestle the way she learned in Japan, then it'll be the only reason why I watch AEW. It's very possible that they allow her to wrestle that way. Unfortunately, women don't get a ton of time on AEW, so let's hope that this relationship with Toni Storm goes somewhere.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, again, it just seeing how, again, getting into the memories was kind of fucked up, man.
We find out that Carol Danvers is called the Annihilator. We'd heard it a few times, but we didn't really understand it. And this is where we see Carol destroying the stuff. And then we start going through Carol's older memories. We see her on Earth before she left the first time in Captain Marvel, where she tells her, "I'll be back before you know it."
Heartbreaking.
And then we see Carol sitting on the porch with an obviously sick Maria Rambeau. And they're talking, and she's talking about how, she knows it's been a while and she's sorry that she hasn't been back. And they talk about how, and she says, "I need you to keep all this stuff. I need you to keep this for when Monica gets back." Because at this point, this happened during the blip. This happened while Monica was already dead, before she came back, while she's sick with cancer.
Yeah.
So all of us thinking, and rightfully thinking, that Carol never came back for her best friend while she was sick. It's not true. Carol did come back. Unfortunately, the only storyteller that we had that could have told us that wasn't there when it happened. So we find out that all of the things that were led up to with the ill will feelings between Monica and Carol are all stemming from these things. And they have a discussion about it. And they talk about how it's important that Maria wanted and knew that Monica was going to come back. And how Carol wanted to come back over and over and over again, but there just wasn't a way to do it. And then she talks about what happened on Hala when she went back to destroy Hala and destroy the Supreme Intelligence. And she realizes that she's the villain. She realizes that she's the one who made a mistake and that she's done this to these people. But she then also figures out what they want next and where they're going, because they use this to find the coordinates that Kamala had seen on a screen.
Hmm.
It ends up taking them to Aladna. Oh, Aladna.
My God, this was a weirdly charming few minutes, man.
So Aladna is a place where language is music.
They sing everything they say.
And the best part is Carol Danvers puts on the jellyfish head as she comes to this planet. And she tells them while they're in there, oh, by the way, I helped them with a small legal matter, so I'm kind of a big deal here. To which Kamala goes, of course, you're a big deal everywhere. She's like, no. I'm a big deal on this planet. Just go with the flow. Whatever happens, just kind of go with it. Because she doesn't want to really explain what's going on. And they start singing, and they're having a fantastic thing. And Kamala is in her element.
You can see how happy she was.
This looks like the greatest Bollywood, Americanized Bollywood thing ever. All these people singing different colors, vibrant colors. All these people so happy and singing their dialogue. And Kamala's just dancing in the background, having a good time. And then we meet Mr. Carol Danvers, Prince Jan, played amazingly in the short moments that we get to see him by Park Si-joon. Just fantastic. This guy was a delight. And he talks normally. And everybody's like, wait, aren't you supposed to be singing in Captain Marvel without missing a beat? Goes, no, he's bilingual. It's okay.
And this is why I think she did a good job, because when they hit these beats, the Captain Marvel says these comments, it comes through as charming as hell.
Yeah, it was great.
I know she improves in this movie.
And she explains that she's a princess, and this is her husband. And the small legal matter that she helped them with was agreeing to marry him so that he could continue being the prince of this wonderful planet. And I could have spent the entire rest of the movie in this place, to be honest.
Yo, fuck yeah.
It was delightful. And the other thing is, it was the most Disney that Marvel has ever felt. And that's not a bad thing. Like, this made me feel like the old Disney movies of old. A random, musical sequence in a movie that's not a musical, but just like a random sequence where people just get up and start dancing.
Very much so. I found it weird, so charming and fun to watch this, and then to see, and then I don't know, it's just great. And then she got when she got the dress put on her, like magically had the dress. I was like, that's almost Wonder Woman right there. The way it was like on her.
It reminded me of Cinderella. Like, it just magically appears when she needs it. And by the way, the dress that she's wearing is a version of her Captain Marvel outfit with this long ball gown, and it's fantastic.
But the way it was cut, the way it looked with the gold on top, it looked Wonder Woman-ish.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah. But then we realized that they're here because Dar-Ben wants to seal the water. And we get this great group shot of these outfits given to them by Prince Jan. A new version of the Captain Marvel, a darker, more brooding version of the Captain Marvel attire, which, by the way, I think is fantastic. I love it
way more.
So much better than the bright blue and red that she had before. I love this darker red version with the blue.
Yeah.
The wonderful white and black suit of Teyonah Parris, Monica Rambeau here is just fantastic. And by the way, the entire movie, they've still not mentioned her superhero name because, as she keeps telling them, she doesn't want or need a code name.
Come on,
Monica.
My favorite from Kamala, though, was calling her Professor Marvel.
Yep, Professor Marvel was one that Kamala made at least 2 or 3 times that she pitched that to be the idea. And by the way, what a beautiful version of the Captain Marvel attire too. Not the Captain Marvel, the Miss Marvel attire.
Oh yeah,
for Iman Vellani here. Like, I adore what they have for her in the beginning of the movie when she's dressed in her normal outfit here.
Yeah,
I think it's
the one from the series.
Yep, and it's fantastic, and I adore it. But there's something special about the new attire that she was wearing here It was beautiful. It suited her. It was a glow up that she needed. It felt more superhero.
Mm-hmm.
She was no longer just a kid cosplaying as a superhero. This felt like a real superhero outfit.
Well, her original outfit felt very street level hero, where
Yeah.
this felt very
Cosmic.
I'm an Avenger level hero now.
Yep. And it was great. We then get the battle between them. And at this point, the three ladies have figured out the best way to do this is that it happens when two of them use their powers, that they swap places. So they figured out how to try to utilize this to their best advantage. And they're doing different things like juggling and jumping rope. But by the way, the double Dutch scene is fantastic. Like it's a riot. I love it.
So
It's
good.
so great. With Iman Vellani not wanting to do double Dutch and them using their powers to do the swaps for the double Dutch, which is such a unique and different way to do it. Like we've all grown up and seen the girls at the school because like I was never coordinated enough to do double Dutch.
Me either.
But like I would see some of my friends.
Dude, I could barely skip one rope, let alone double Dutch.
Yeah. And they're sitting there and they're swapping people in and out and they're going from jumping rope to throwing the rope to somebody else grabbing it and doing, and it's fantastic and I adore it and it's great. And they do such a good job with it here. But inevitably, they steal the water from Aladna as well.
Sadly.
So now, air and water have been gotten. But it's at this point that Captain Marvel figures out what's going on. That Dar-Ben is attacking people that are close to Captain Marvel. Emperor Droge, which is a friend of Captain Marvel's, where she got as many of the Kree as she could to their own world that they could live on their own. Skrulls. Yes, Skrulls.
Yeah.
Because we heard in Secret Invasion how they were trying to find a planet of their own where they weren't, persecuted and told to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder how come more of the Skrulls from Earth didn't end up here with Emperor Droge. But again, that's another story for another day. And again, one of the failures of this movie is not tying in that link between the two and why this group of Skrulls was able, even though they were mentioned by name, how come there's no working between the two of them? But anyways, we digress. We find out that it's all about the people in Carl's life. So we know that Earth is next because the Earth's sun is obviously the next place they're going to do because they're attacking places close to Captain Marvel. So they're going to try to kill her homeworld. It's at this point that we also, back on Saber, find out that there are egg sacs all over the spaceship. And they don't know what these sacs are. We find out that they're egg sacs from the Flurkin. And we get, hold on, the kittens. By the way, this is the best poster for this movie. Just saying.
I agree.
This is the best.
Just the kitties, the baby Flurkins were so cute.
And by the way, I also have this picture of the Flurkins as they're running around the spaceship. And just so people on the back, because Andre can see this on the back end of what I've named this. I have named this the real villains of the movie, or the real potential villains, which are these astronomically large in number baby Flurkins. And the reason why I think that this is terrible is because as the sun is starting to be attacked, Saber starts going down. There's problems on Saber because of it. And they realize that they can't get everybody off Saber with the amount of escape pods they have. So the grand solution from Nicholas J. Fury, the greatest spy of spies, is to have the Flurkin eat people. Because they can put them in their belly, get just the Flurkin into escape pods, and then send the escape pods to Earth, and you can get that many more humans safely back down to Earth. Double Dutch was always fun. Yeah, it was always fun because of the fact that you probably had coordination, which I'm sure, I'm speaking for my friend Andre, I think he'll be allowing me to speak for him. We didn't have growing up. And she goes, if not friend, then why friend-shaped? Like, kittens are adorable. However, kittens in any form, and cats in general, are villains. They just are. Dogs are friends, cats are villains. It's just how life works.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Mel does say, talking about the greatness of her coordination, she does fall going upstairs.
And I know she falls downstairs too.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to talk about that. Mel's a wonderful person, and we adore Mel. If she was a fantastic Rhea Ripley over Halloween. I saw the pictures. So. She was fantastic. But yes, they use the Flurkin to get all of the people back home from Saber, which is fantastic. Just fantastic. And this leads us, ironically, back to the final action scene of the movie, which we've spent 30 minutes, 40 minutes of this review talking about all the other things that are in this movie. We spent 20 minutes recapping the movie. And by the way, we didn't leave a bunch out. These are the major plot points of this movie. Yes, there are scenes that we left out that we didn't talk about. But for the majority, we've told you the entirety of the story up until this point. There's not a lot of story that we've left out in this. When they say it's a very quick story, there's not much to it, and it's very quick, and it goes well together. Every piece just kind of, it's a piece of a puzzle, and it just kind of fits. Mm-hmm. And you get more and more pieces going in very easily as this puzzle goes. Andre, your thoughts on the final action sequence when they finally figured out how to use these powers and the powers and swapping to their advantage?
The coordination was amazing, and like I know I was reading Iman Vellani trained. Was it in? I'm looking for here. She's trained in parkour because if you watch her, she's hopping all over her light pieces, right? And then Teyonah Parris trained in boxing because you see she was more like swinging and everything, and she was shooting her powers. She was also swinging for like power punches. And like, again, I thought they did actually really well. Like, whoever was the stunt coordinator for this movie, I think did a phenomenal job in getting in setting these scenes. I've been doing it, and I thought it really the final fight scene of it all was very good.
Your thoughts on the ending of that fight scene and the finality of the movie in that aspect of the villain arc of the movie and the villain, the end of Dar-Ben as the piece falls on top of her and she's crushed.
Well, no, what?
So during this final fight sequence, Dar-Ben is on the ground, knocked down, and one of the beams of the ship that they're fighting on falls on top of her and basically pierces through her.
I was thinking post that, sorry.
And it sounds like she's about to die, and Captain Marvel goes, look, I know that you're mad at me, and I understand what I've done wrong, and I want to try to make it better. I want to go back to Hala with you so that you can continue to do your thing on Hala, and I'm going to help get the sun started again. So hopefully rebirth the sun so that the people of Hala can continue to live in the Kree Empire without all of these bad things. But as soon as they get her up, she tries one last time to get the better of the team, but the team puts her down. They put an end to her, and now Kamala has both of the bangles. God help us all. Iman Vellani has both bangles.
No.
Yes,
because she got the bangle from Iman Vellani, put it on, jumped into space, and smashed them together.
Well, yes, and she opened. I was going to get to that part. I was going to do that part as a separate thing because
Iman Vellani got the cuffs after that.
Yes, but that's outside of the fight sequence, and I wanted to leave what she did with that.
Well, I thought the fight sequence ended right there because she got the best of Iman Vellani, took the cuffs.
Yes,
the end of the fight scene was eventually that. Yeah.
Yes, but I was going to deal with the portal and everything after we got done talking about the actual fight scene.
Well, you can't talk about Iman Vellani
Yes,
getting the cuffs
you
until
can
after.
skip that one part and go back to it afterwards.
No, because it's not the plot doesn't work if she already has the cuffs. Again, just skip what you're about to talk about because it makes no sense. What you're about to say, I'm going to argue with because if you keep going with this one, I'm going to argue that point over and over again.
So we get to the point where she opens the portal.
Mm.
Iman Vellani now has both of the bangles. God help us all. She was powerful enough with one. Now she has both. God help us all. But they realize that to close this portal, they're going to need to use Captain Marvel's powers along with Iman Vellani's abilities with both bangles to be able to give enough power. So they focus that power through Teyonah Parris, through Monica Rambeau, to try to close the portal. But they can't just do it from one side. They have to do it from both. Monica agrees to go on the other side to start closing the portals. And once that happens, she informs the rest of them
I'm not coming back.
That she's not coming back, that she has to stay on the other side. Almost like Tony Stark with the nuclear bomb in Avengers.
That's what I thought.
Yep. It was great. And it was a nice little touching scene. But Carol's not willing to do this. Because Carol understands already. She's made good with her for once. She needs her back in her life. She wants him back in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So she tries to go ahead and save her. And unfortunately, she doesn't quite get there in time. And it closes. And Teyonah Parris, Monica Rambeau is in one universe. And Iman Vellani and Captain Marvel are in another. This was an incursion. It was two universes coming together. So we're now dealing with the first physical incursion that we've ever seen of two universes touching together, which is going to start the ball rolling on the things that we heard about in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, about what incursions mean and how all that works. But I thought it was a fantastically well done job. I don't understand what you think you're going to argue with me on.
No, because I was just saying the way you were right. You're saying it. I'm like, she didn't get the bag until after that the bad guy died. Come on.
Yeah,
that's what I was.
You can tell the story in multiple different ways. You don't have to tell the story beat by beat.
Yes,
you kind of skip a small part, go back to it afterwards, and explain it again. Because it feels weird to explain the portal when we're talking about the fight scene.
Well, we talked about the fight scene. Then the portal happened.
Yes, but you don't have to stop talking about the fight scene to talk about the portal when you can just talk about the portal after you finish talking about the fight scene.
Yeah.
I'm the producer of this show. I tell you where the story goes. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't people react. I'm just having fun with it. And that's pretty much the end of this movie. She's I said pretty much.
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm doing this.
We do get, before the credits, we do get one more scene of Kamala Khan sitting in the dark of a shed. It's not a multi-million-dollar mansion. It is a shed. And Iman Vellani starts paraphrasing the words of Nicholas Fury in the first ever post-credit scene of Iron Man.
No, that was Kate Bishop's apartment, wasn't it?
Yes, but the words that she's using to recruit Kate Bishop are paraphrased words that Nick Fury used in Iron Man to start the Avengers process.
No, you said shed, and I'm like, what the fuck shed was she in? And then I realized what you meant.
It's not an apartment. It's a shed. It wasn't a full-fledged apartment. It looks like a shed. Anyways.
It's a loft. Okay.
Anyways. I'm going to need a new co-host for the next stuff. We're doing a Marvel rebound. So if you know anybody who really likes Iron Man 1, because obviously Andre is not going to be able to do it, we can go ahead and talk about all kinds of great... No, I'm just kidding. Andre, go ahead and give me your thoughts on the Young Avengers starting to form here with Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop, and a mention of Cassie Lang.
I really enjoyed it. I was like, instead of talking, I'm like, that's just doing Fury. And I was, yeah. Mel knows all about me being an asshole.
Oh, here we go.
You're not in. I'm back. But yeah, this is so charming. She did such a great job, and then as she says, how about joining another thing? Joining it? You want to join with us? please. She just please at the end. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. I loved it, man. And again, I'm excited to see a Young Avengers movie because it's going to be separate from all the other Avengers stuff that we're going to get too.
I feel like the Young Avengers is going to be one of the premier spotlight series that we get on Disney Plus. I have a feeling it's not going to be a movie. I have a feeling it's going to be a spotlight series.
Me too. And again, because if you look at it, you have her. You have Kate Bishop. They're talking about Cassie Lang. Scar is on Earth now.
Yeah.
Hulk's son.
Billy and Tommy exist somewhere in the multiverse.
We've seen a young Kang who is Iron Lad.
We've also seen Patriot.
We have Patriot. Yeah, there's so many things, and there's so many other characters. There's a potential that there's a Miles Morales out there. That could be another character down the road if you bring a Miles in at some point.
You could technically bring in Peter Parker, as he has been a member of the Young Avengers at one point.
Again, and you have Peter Parker, who is just going into college, where and even Kate, she's 23, she says, comparatively. So she's older than Peter. So Peter could be part of a younger, but he's already in a main Avenger, so that's why I don't think it would be
I agree. I don't think, but he could be a bounce between.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
He could be the link between the two groups. That's what I think we'll do from there.
But again, but now Miles should be of the teenager age with the blip, if he didn't get blipped. So again, but there's so much potential with what a Young Avengers movie could bring.
Yeah. We then get the mid-credit scene, which is the only scene after the credits.
Well, there was a post, but it's stupid. There was a post credits, but it was dumb.
We see Monica Rambeau in a bed being looked after. And then we get the wonderful booming voice of Kelsey Grammer returning to Marvel as Hank McCoy's Beast.
Oh my God. I mean, when I heard the voice, I was like, what? I looked at my friend and went, and he looked at me and he knew exactly what voice that was. And
we also see a version of Maria Rambeau who's here, who in this universe has no children, who in this universe is a superhero. We'll talk more about who she is and what that means going forward. But she has no idea of any children. She has no idea who Monica is. And so after a quick discussion with Beast leaves and says, make sure you get me that information. Charles wants an update. Now, a lot of people are trying to say that this is Earth 838. It is not Earth 838. So in that universe, Maria Rambeau was Captain Marvel and died. And so did Charles. I am going with the new Rockstars theory that this is another version of the multiverse. It is just another Earth in the multiverse. This is the timeline, the reset timeline from the ending of Days of the Future Past.
Oh, Days of the Future Past, yeah. Because I don't know. Is it, and again, there's Deadpool of it all too. So if Deadpool goes to another universe, does it kill this universe? That's there's so many questions here right now that it's just like.
But yeah, I would like to believe, because at the end of Days of Future Past, we see Hank McCoy back again as Kelsey Grammer as Hank McCoy. So in Days of Future Past, for those that haven't seen it, the quick synopsis is Wolverine is sent back in time by Kitty Pryde to go ahead and change events of a post-apocalyptic future where mutants are hunted by the Sentinels, and it has made mutants scared, and they're on the run, and there's not many left. However, Wolverine goes back in time, helps fix this, and when he wakes up, he doesn't go back to the world he lived in. He goes back to a brand new, different alternate reality in which Scott Summers is alive, Jean Grey is alive, Hank McCoy is back, and it's not the young Beast who's going to be in the DC stuff going forward. It's the older Beast of Kelsey Grammer. And I think that's the universe that we're picking up in.
Well, very much so.
Either way, it's fantastic to see at more X-Men. And again, because of the deal made with Fox when they bought the rights to the X-Men again, that's why we're seeing this version of X-Men, because they're still not yet allowed to go ahead and cast any new X-Men yet. So all of the X-Men that they can use X-Men, they can use mutants, they can use anything they want. But if they're going to go ahead and use the X-Men, they have to use previous alternatives of those X-Men, which means for Beast, we get Kelsey Grammer, or we get, I can't remember his name, but
Nicholas Hoult.
There we go. Nicholas Hoult, the one who plays him in the reboots, the First Class series show of the X-Men worlds. And that was this movie. It was fun. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We both agree that you should go see this movie. We both agree 100%. That you should go in there and just have a good time. Yeah. Because the critics are wrong. And we spent 15, 20 minutes reading critic reviews and trashing the critics, because you know what? Trashing the critics is a whole lot better than trashing this movie, because while this movie isn't perfect, and we'll agree, this could have been a much deeper movie. This could have been a slightly better written, better told story. And there could have been more left in. For things that hit the cutting room floor, it seemed like a lot of things hit the cutting room floor that probably didn't need to. I'll be interested to see what the deleted scenes are when this eventually gets deleted scenes. I'll be interested to see what they are and why they were chosen to be deleted from the movie, because I feel like this could have used 15, 20 more minutes. I would have been happy with 15, 20 more minutes of this. However, the hour and a half runtime of this movie makes it so much better than a lot of movies, because it doesn't overstay its welcome. It comes in, it does what it needs to do, and it gets out. Mm-hmm. Unlike us, who have been talking about this movie for an hour and 14 minutes. Andre, tell the good people where they can find you this week.
You can find me on my channel, because I'm doing all the great stuff over there. You can find, if you want to talk to me though, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Hive at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at That Canada Dude. Find me on Facebook at Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk. You can find me probably Monday, multiple days this week. I'll be doing my Stardom reviews, New Japan reviews, youtube.com/@Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk, where we have a lot of great content. Melball right there at Melball Collins, and Collins Melball on multiple. She's Collins Melball on Twitter, and Melball Collins on everything out if you want to talk to her about Japanese professional wrestling.
Or breaking herself when she falls upstairs.
Or down.
You can, of course, find me on the X, on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find all of my content simulcasted on our local establishment and right here on Twitch at edfries2002, where I play my gaming content, where I also, like I said, dual stream all of my wonderful content that I do right here with our local establishment, which includes Marvel Talk, as we'll be back in a few weeks talking about Iron Man, the original Iron Man, as we start the MCU rebound. We talk about the original MCU movies as they happen. We're going to also go ahead and tell you that you can find me every Tuesday night with the wonderful Natural Ash Bazaar, as we talk all things NXT directly after NXT ends. We talk all kinds of great stuff there. We have our 1 year anniversary of working together on Taking Over in 2 weeks, and Ash has put together a terrific video. So please make sure you stop by in 2 weeks for that, because it is going to be fantastic. You can also catch me every Wednesday night with the Chris Parrish as we go ahead and duke it out in Wrestle Draft, as I am the current reigning, defending, undisputed Season 2 champion of Wrestle Draft, as I am currently leading, and we are heading into our second premium live event there. But we want to thank you all for joining us tonight. It has been greatly appreciated. We got Ashton saying, I'll be getting to Marvel Snap soon. I will be getting to Marvel Snap soon. I will. I promise. Someday. But for my friend Andre C., I am Ed Fries. We have talked about the Marvels. You have a delightful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.